Hi everyone, today I just want to talk about life starting again when you decide to quit alcohol, and it's a big decision for everybody to wake up one morning, normally with a hangover, and just firmly decide to quit drinking. And life just keeps getting better and better as time goes on. And I originally actually quit in 2017, and I stopped for 5 years up until 2022, and then I decided to start drinking again, thought I could moderate, and then I was back to the binge drinking. I was never a really heavy drinker, drinking during the week, drinking every day. It was just the quintessential British binge drinking, I guess, that most of us grow up with here and grow up with around the world. And thankfully, in July of this year, I managed to stop again. But I'll talk about maybe 5 things that just change and make your life so much better. And it just feels like you do have a second go at life. And the first thing is just enjoying the small things. And, there are so many massive benefits that everybody speaks about online, and rightly so. Stuff like, the anxiety going away and brain fog and saving money. But for me, the first one I think I want to talk about is just the small joys, just the small things you just appreciate now that you never did before. And that first five minutes after waking up in the morning when you're just lying in bed and you just feel so clean and good and you've had a great sleep. And there's also things like just having that cup of coffee in the morning. I just love that feeling when you get out the shower and you're changed and it's really early in the morning and the whole world's quiet and you're just sitting there having a coffee, maybe just reading the news online. It just is kind of amazing, to be honest. And even at the weekends, I think before you just probably just be out and about, maybe you'd be dying with a hangover, and especially on a Sunday. But just to sometimes have some me time, if you're going out for a walk or you're just sitting there having a cup of tea, it just feels really special. And I remember when it must have been about a couple of months now when I was in Italy. I just used to absolutely love going out for a walk after breakfast and just kind of feeling the sun in your face. Before, if I'd been in Rome or wherever or wherever I would have been on holiday with friends, I would have probably have been absolutely dying of a hangover. But then, like I say, just feeling so good in the morning and just feeling that sun on my face and knowing that the nice weather's coming for the day, it's just absolutely lovely. And like I said, just those small things just kind of really change your life. And there's always 5 or 10 of them during the day that add up to just make you feel really warm inside. And you don't need alcohol when you're getting this natural good feeling, natural dopamine rush from just enjoying life and all these small things around you. The second thing is relationships. And when you're about 2-3 months into your sober journey, you end up becoming known as this non-drinker, and you really do take on a different role, I think, with friends, with family, and it's a really good feeling. You've also took on a lot more commitments, not only within the house. You're probably now doing a lot more. You're just a lot more reliable, but work-wise as well, and you just end up, I think a lot of friends and family start looking up to you as this kind of Mr. Reliable, and it's an absolutely great feeling. And your relationships in general start to change as well. You realise that a lot of your friends were basically just drinking acquaintances. They slowly drift away after you've maybe asked if they want to meet for a coffee instead, or maybe they asked if they want to go to the cinema, for example, and there's just no way they're going to do it. And to be fair, you'd have probably been the same when you weren't drinking. You'd have probably thought, oh, that's boring, I'm definitely going out. But there is this amazing kind of feels like a bit of a second lease of life around friends, where all your really good friends are still there, and you just start to make new friends where you feel like you're really productive with them. Nothing really revolves around alcohol, and you start to realize that, you know, once again, alcohol's just this facade where you all just kind of sit in a room together or sit in a pub together and just get hammered and talk crap. But just those new relationships and the way people perceive you as well is just lovely, and like I say, just feels like your life's starting again with a new set of friends and a kind of new you as well. The third thing is purpose, and I think it's something that we all need and want. Most of us have probably been in that situation before when we're not in work. Maybe you had a redundancy, maybe you left a job you didn't like, maybe you were working a contract that ended, and you've been out of work. And I think the biggest things is not having a sense of purpose when you go to bed at night or when you wake up in the morning and nobody's relying on you. You don't have anything to really do that's anything significant, and it kind of really, I think it really puts you in a negative spin, because most people, I think, at the end of the week, at the end of the day, want to have ticked loads of boxes, especially if you're going to go on holiday or you're going into the weekend. You want to look back and just think in your head how many boxes you ticked, how many tasks you got done. And I just think that's part of kind of who we are and the way we've evolved over time. And I feel that when you stop drinking, you just take on, as I mentioned before, like a lot more commitments. And that can be commitments in the house, commitments at work, and also commitments on self-improvement, whether that be educational wise or physical wise, fitness wise, and just waking up every morning just feeling that people are relying on you, people need you, and also you're getting things done. And it's not just slogging through the day trying to get a few things finished. You're actually taking on projects like renovating the bathroom and getting it finished, doing a certification at college or university, getting it finished. And just purpose, I think, is just something that drives everyone through the day. And with those good sleeps and the extra energy you have mixed in with the purpose, it's just a brilliant position to be in, and just puts a spring in your step when you're getting up in the morning and getting on with work or going out at the weekend. The fourth thing is just emotional growth. I think that changed, and it's just a lot different now, just the way you handle things. And I think it's got a lot to do with anxiety. I mean, I think probably the biggest benefit for me would be the no anxiety, just waking up in the morning with a clear head. It tends to take maybe a few weeks to go. The initial anxiety will go in a few days, and then maybe the other stuff will slowly fizzle out, and there'll be still some stuff left over, of course, maybe if you've had some financial difficulties or you've fallen out with friends and family. But over time you'll put plans in place to fix all those, and I think you'll be in a lot better position. But with the kind of purpose you have and the confidence that you grow, you're this reliable non-drinker, you're smashing everything, you're doing well at work, everyone's relying on you, you're maybe in work at 7 every morning, and just like I say, absolute smashing it. All this just gives you that extra confidence, and emotionally you're just able to handle so many things. You just become like a mediator and a person that people will go to, and if there are any issues, you're already on top of them. You've not got this big backlog of issues that you've had because you've not been on top of them, because you've been out pretty much every weekend, and there's just regret there. You're absolutely on top of everything. So if anything does come, a curveball from your work where you need to maybe meet late or go away, or there's a situation happens like a family member is unfortunately unwell and has to go to hospital, the way you deal with that is just on an absolute different scale. You just grab the bull by the horns, deal with it, come up with a plan. You'll be the person that people are going to for emotional support, and that's just like a total second version of you, which, to be honest, would never have happened before. It would have probably been panic stations, and with the anxiety you've got in your body, would have probably amplified tenfold. It's just not a great situation any of us were in probably before. But once you've got a few months under your belt, it's definitely a big point, the emotional side, and how strong you'll get inside, and people will certainly look up to you. The last point on kind of your life starting again is just, once you're maybe just relating back to my own place, when I originally quit, I'd really kind of neglected doing any certification or anything like that, or any further education related to my job, which is project management. And I hadn't really done anything since I graduated uni, but between 2017 and probably around 2019, I did 4 big certifications at work, which really put me in good stead. I ended up getting a massive promotion, and now I've renewed them. I keep renewing them all the time just to keep relevant, and just the amount of opportunities that open because just you've got your degrees, you went back to college, you've done certification is amazing, and just to be able to apply jobs, because we all have to work, unfortunately, unless some of us have won the lottery, and just to be able to apply for work and be considered, get interviews is just a huge thing. And not only that, when you're in your job, even if you don't go and get certifications, you're turning up on time, you're there for 8 hours, you're maybe there for 10 hours, you're getting things done, you're helping people out because you're not lethargic, you're jumping into meetings, you're volunteering to do stuff. Maybe you've embarrassed yourself at some team buildings or something like that, or team events, and none of that's happening anymore, and opportunities just present themselves. I mean, who are they going to consider when there's maybe 3 people going for a promotion, and you've always been on time, and you're someone you look up to. It's you're going to get in, you're going to be in for a great shout. But also things like side hustles. If you want to create a side hustle or a business, you've got that energy there, and it's a bit of a long slog building up a business, but without the brain fog and a focused mind and like solid purpose, it's kind of easy. You'll research it, you'll ask about, and like that opportunity will present itself. So you can only imagine how much difference that might make in your life. It might just be a side hustle you do that ends up covering all your bills. Maybe it turns into a full-on business, so you leave your job and end up getting a great opportunity to work for yourself and grow that way, and maybe that will change yours and your family's life. But hopefully those 5 things just kind of give you a bit of an insight into your life starting over, because you do get a second chance in life. It really is incredible. There's a great saying that says, we all have 2 lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. And that's how genuinely it feels like once you've got that first few months out the way. Alcohol just starts becoming like a hobby you used to do, and you don't even think about it, and your life completely changes, not for yourself, but for your family and your friends around you as well. But please like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.